From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me we have Allison.
Season's greetings, everyone.
Jill.
Welcome to the deep.
Rob.
Son of a nutcracker.
And Tyler.
And a happy Hanukkah to everyone.
Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to our last show before the new year. Let's go ahead and kick this off with a bit of good news. The Muppets present great moments in American history, returning to the Magic Kingdom. Like, I'm floored that this is happening. It looks like this is only for a limited time, at least at present. It'll be going daily from December 23rd through the 31st. But something's better than nothing. That's like, if you look at the times for this, like, there's a lot of it, including on Christmas. Like, I'm shocked that they brought this back. I mean, it doesn't seem that hard, and they probably do need to have some more draw in that park right now. But, wow. Okay, cool.
It's a glorious 8-day event. This is, I mean, I'm shocked because they had to keep the people trained to perform this. Basically, the puppeteers, they had to, the narrator that they have on the street, they have to keep his costume also intact. So we know that they didn't burn the costume or get rid of the puppets. So there is hope that this might come back more than just this 8 days, and that's wonderful.
It's not like Illuminations, how they drug out the globe and like started dismantling it the next day. They actually kept this intact. But yeah, no, that was my first thought too, was, oh wait, so these performers are still around. I assume they kept the same performers, because that would be a hard thing to bring this back for a week with brand new people. But I was kind of thinking/assuming that maybe these performers had been reassigned elsewhere. I thought maybe they could have been at the with the Animal Kingdom Merry Menagerie. So that surprised me that it was so easy for them to just throw this back together so quickly. But yeah, I'm really happy it's back. I'm sad it's for such a short time. It would be nice if it was running a little bit longer through January, so when I go back, I'll be able to see it. But sadly, no.
I hate to maybe infer that they had a plan all along, but maybe they actually had a plan to bring this back for the busy holiday season all along, and they were just trying to save some money during the interim. But I did find it interesting, Ben, that you said that you feel like they need to find a drawback to this park, because I don't think you ever need to find a way to draw people back to the Magic Kingdom. I think they're doing pretty okay. They're going to be all right. But they, I would love to see this thing permanently come back. So I'm hoping it's not like a test. Like they're going, hey, let's see if people really did care about this. And maybe it was a financial thing that they just needed to, store some money off for Q4, and they're going to have it ready to go again for Q1, and it's going to come back, and we'll all be happy forever and ever. I don't know that's going to happen, but we can hope and dream. It's Disney.
Yeah. I feel like there is a bit of a need for a draw at Magic Kingdom. I mean, yeah, in general, yes, everybody's going to always go there, but right now, we've got Festival of the Holidays at Epcot. We've got studios being a nightmare in terms of crowds. We'll get to that in the bottom half of the show. They need something to pull people away from studios, I think. It's bad.
I think, though, that most people who have little kids are going to go to the Magic Kingdom anyway. So even though they're Star Wars land, I think that there's still always going to be a huge bit of people that are going to go there. That's why it's a higher price ticket. Maybe they could build some kind of, I don't know, like a light cycle motorbike coaster thing to get people in there. I don't know. It's worth a shot.
I'm just glad it's not called the Muppets Forever, since it's a temporary show.
Oh, gosh.
And that's the joke that Tyler's been workshopping for the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Well, speaking of crowds and other parks, though, my goodness, they are expecting Flight of Passage to get so bad that you're going to need a bathroom in the middle of the line because they built one. There is now there are no restrooms inside this facility. That is, in fact, a lie. There is a bathroom right there, and it is a fully functional bathroom.
Am I crazy, or wasn't this in the plan originally?
I think it was. Maybe this was always the plan, and they just never got around to it. I mean, of course, we're WDW&T, so we have documentation of the entire bathroom. But this is, I mean, it's real easy to do. It's a single serve bathroom. You just lock the door behind you. But this, I don't know why it wasn't here from day one, but I'm really glad it's here for the Christmas season.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't always the plan, though, where do you all of a sudden find space to put in a bathroom? I mean, I assume every inch of that building when it's designed is very specific and purposeful, especially since it's 2 rides in one building. You got to do plumbing and everything else. So I would assume maybe it was like, hey, let's see if we need this. And then, 2 years later, it's still a 3-hour wait. So sure, maybe we need to do that. But I gotta assume that at some point it was in the plans and they just finished it off, right?
I'll believe that.
I don't know. I assume so. But one thing that this queue has always had since it opened was one of those, I have my water bottle here, one of those water bottle things where you just place it there and it fills it that way, like a fountain like that. And it's the only queue I know of that has that in the middle of it, which was really useful when you're waiting 3 or 4 hours for Flight of Passage. But also, if you're going to give people the ability to fill their 2-liter bottles of water, it makes a lot of sense to also have a place for people to take a break and relieve themselves. So it would have been great, I guess, at opening, but at any time they're going to do this, it's great. My biggest concern was, how are they going to manage the line? Because are people going to get out of line and then try to catch up with their party? But apparently that's not the case. They have a cast member there staffing it, and your entire party has to get out of line and then get back in line when everyone's done using the facilities. So it's pretty orderly.
Yeah, I find that an interesting sort of nuance to this story, is that there's a cast member that mans the bathroom and takes your party out of line and then puts them back. And it's just interesting that something like a single serve bathroom requires a full-time cast member attendant. But I guess it makes sense. People are waiting in line for 3 hours and they're not just going to be oh yeah, you can jump out of line and then cut back in front of me. That's fine. Yeah. I feel like that could, for such a long line, that could lead to some conflict if there's not a staff member there to kind of manage the situation.
Yeah, I could easily see somebody misunderstanding that and thinking that the person coming out of the bathroom was cutting them in line, when no, they were here way before now. They have been in front of you this entire time. I promise.
Especially a long line like that, you definitely are going to have a little bit of angst by the time you get to hour 2 that, hey, wait, where did this come from? But also at the same time, if you're in a group of 4 and one of you has to go to the bathroom, don't the other 3 hate you if you all have to get out of line?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I feel pretty angry at that point. Yeah. So I would just want to hold it, I assume.
Well, speaking of things that couldn't hold. The Murphy beds in Disney's Riviera Resort on opening night fell on a guest. I do not have great information on this at this point, but I believe everybody, just a few bumps and scrapes from the report here. Great name for that Facebook group here we're posting on our page.
Not a secret anymore.
This bed is not supposed to be in this position. It
looks like there was 4 screws holding it to the wall. If you bring up that image,
let's put that back.
It looks like the kind of thing you get from IKEA, where it's your kid could let this fall on them, so make sure to screw it to the wall with no other kind of you clearly need one of those things you put in the wall first.
There's 2 on the left. If you look, there's 2 more on the right, although I can't show it well due to technical difficulties. But you can see those 2 white pegs sticking up on the left-hand side of the picture. That's the kind of screw that's holding this in.
You'd think
But
they'd
I
be
don't
testing this.
I don't think I've ever seen a clearer case of negligence in my life.
Oh, that's right. It is time for Allison's legal perspective, everybody.
Here we go. Okay, so you need 4 elements to prove negligence in the United States in tort law. You need to have a duty. So that means in a hotel, they have a duty to provide safe premises, a breach of that duty that caused a harm. And so clearly, when you use only 4 screws to fasten something that probably weighs like 70 pounds or so to a wall, and it's expected to hold a person's body weight and be stable, that's clearly your fault. They are so lucky that it was an adult woman in this bed and not like a 3-year-old child, because the other thing is once you've proven negligence, Disney is responsible for paying for the damage it caused. And so the damage here, thank goodness, is really minor because it was an adult woman. But if it was a child, if it was somebody with disabilities, or if somebody was just sleeping in the wrong position, they would be owing so much more money in damages here. Whatever. There's going to be a Disney tax anyway to this because people are going to want to feel extra secure on Disney property and have that expectation. But man, so obvious. It's just like the thing speaks for itself. 4 screws.
Yeah.
It's not going to hold up anyone's body weight.
Like, thank goodness that there were other people in the room, because if that woman had been in the room by herself, she would not have been able to get out of that bed. She would have been trapped in there for who knows how long. So, like, that's the first thing I thought of was, oh my gosh, if you were there by yourself, who knows how long you could be trapped there. And that, oh gosh, imagine somebody being stuck in there for hours.
Good grief. Just for the record, Disney has gone around and marked all of these beds out of order at this point. Please do not use the bed anyways. Please. Like, you're asking for it if you do. You're not going to be like, ooh, let me get in on this lawsuit. They've told you not to do something. Like, there's no excuse now. Please don't hurt yourself and don't put people at risk. Oh, right. The entire rest of the Riviera also opened. I almost forgot about that part. There was this nice opening ceremony that was kind of subdued, honestly, from what I saw of it. I love the fact that, like, you can see kind of in the left of this shot, there's like a bocce ball green there. There was a family that was just out there chilling, playing bocce ball while the ceremony was going on. It's like, I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. But no, this is nice. I've done some looking around at some of the pictures that we've done here. The merchandise, I've got all of the pictures of that up. Although I don't think there's anything really to write home about. But I'm not a merch guy.
See, I love the merch. I love the fact that there is so much. I love the fact that there is so much resort specific merch. A lot of times you go to a resort and maybe there's like 1 or 2 t-shirts and a couple of pins and that's it. There's so much merch at Riviera, and there's like kind of more a little bit like subdued higher end stuff. There's t-shirts, there's bags, there's mugs, there's picture frames, there's an ornament. Like, there's so much stuff, and I think it's all really cute. Some of the mini stuff kind of reminds me a little too much of a line they have out in France right now. That one right there looks like something they have in the France Pavilion in Epcot.
Yeah, it kind of does.
But I think all this merch looks great. And the thing I think I love most is there's a set of plush. There's 4 Riviera specific Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy plush, and they're wearing the exact same outfits on the plush as they're wearing at the character breakfast at Topolino's. Cool. Which I think is just
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find those real quick because I know they're in here.
And the fact that you can buy plush that matches is just like that brought me so much joy. That's such like a little detail, but it made me so happy.
Yeah, and you mentioned this briefly, but Topolino's is one of Walt Disney World's best, says the review, for character breakfast. I
want that steak.
Yeah, that steak does look really good. Like, can I get a full size picture of that steak?
Oh,
'Cause that looks
yes.
so nice.
It's pretty far down the bottom of the article, but
Oh, of course it is. We'll get there.
and then they're selling merch in the restaurant, which I think is hilarious.
Look at the view. Look at the this looks really well done. Like I don't know if I'm sold on Riviera, but I'm probably sold on going to this place at some point in time because this seems really neat.
It's a nice place to visit, but I want to sleep there.
I really, really want to take my daughter here because when we went to do character dining at the Crystal Palace, was kind of a nightmare experience. The lunch is like it was $69 per person for adults, which is insane. This for breakfast is $41, which is on the pricier side, but if you're going to spend that much and go to Crystal Palace, the food is basically inedible. So you get like really good food, and it just looks like a much more humane experience. And look at that. If you scroll up a little bit, Ben, I'm in love with the little paint pot where they put all the treats in, and the paint coming over the side. These dishes on the side, like with the butter and the jam, it looks like it looks like a little painter's palette. Yeah. It's so cute.
The spreader knife looks like a paintbrush. Yeah. There's a lot of really nice touches.
I need to put that back up because that's neat.
That's awesome.
What it lacks in the ambiance of the room itself, because the room itself doesn't look as heavily themed, it's making up for it in those details, and it's just like a classier way to give in the Disney touch, and I just think it looks great.
All right, well, that's enough not talking about Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Yes!
We went over half the show without bringing this up. Now we're taking care of the rest of the show with this.
That's negligence, Ben. Negligence.
Yeah. I had a duty to tell you about Star. No. So Studios is now distributing. Damages. Yeah. Studios is now distributing backup boarding groups for Rise of the Resistance. That you can essentially get. This is like a boarding group that is not guaranteed to actually board. Previously, if you got a boarding group, you were pretty much guaranteed a spot on the ride at some point in time during the day, to the point where Disney would, or at least, I don't know if they're still doing this, but they did at first give people free one-day park admission if their group was not called. So that was.
So this is so they don't have to give you a free ticket then.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can back that off the guaranteed window and then have this soft window where there's no promises, so we don't have to give you free stuff. But we aren't running it below capacity either.
I mean, I think it's incredibly smart. Like they're still dealing with ride shutdowns. They're still dealing with not really being, having a real pattern or consistency in terms of the capacity of the ride. So you don't want to be giving out free park hoppers to dozens and dozens of people every day. And B, like if nothing goes wrong and you can get everybody through the ride, then you don't want to disappoint guests and you don't want to waste capacity by by calling all the boarding groups and then nobody else gets on the ride. So I think this is an incredibly smart way to go. I'm also really pleased that they started moving the boarding group time to official park open, only because I'm going in a few weeks and I don't want to have to get to studios at like 5:30 in the morning. So now, the boarding groups don't start getting distributed until official park opening time. So you can still get into the park a little bit before park open, but you can't get a boarding group. If park opens at 7, you can't get a boarding group till 7. So as someone who's not a morning person, I really appreciate that for my visit.
You're still probably going to need to be getting there at like 6 in the morning, though, because the swarm of people that you're going to have to wade through to get your Magic Band tapped is going to be kind of a mess.
Hey, so can I share this, Ben? People tend to think that I'm some sort of ambassador for Disney in my everyday life, and they need to come and complain to me about things that happen as if I have like a concierge level to go fix it. I'm sure you experience the same things, right? So I got this email this morning from a guy who is there, and he said, pretty disappointed with the Disney experience so far. Walked into Hollywood Studios at 9 a.m. and was told there was literally no chance to ride Rise of the Resistance. it's already booked all day. And I was thinking, yeah, dude, I told you to get there at 6:30 in the morning. He probably just was like, 9 will be fine. It'll be fine. I remember like back in the day when there were paper fast passes, and we would run into the park, and I'd take everybody's tickets and we'd go get paper fast passes for Toy Story Midway Mania because it was the first thing that was going to book up in the morning. So, I mean, I wish there was a better way with this system to know if you would, if you're going to have a chance to go on your vacation to ride this amazing ride that they can't stop talking about. But this is actually the thing that I was prepared for from the beginning with Star Wars Land, is it to be kind of a nightmare. The whole thing, though, is that like you wouldn't be able to get in for a while, and you may actually, no matter how much we know about the parks, we may actually still get iced out of things because there's too many people and everybody's willing to play Comic-Con rules and get up at 2 a.m. and go park it in the parking lot to wait to get in. And so it's just,
how is this okay?
This is what I thought was going to happen though, originally. So it's interesting that it's just happening with Roz.
Yeah. Tyler, I want to hear this.
We'll take this to the post show for me. I will talk about this forever. Show. How is this okay? How is it okay to get up at 4 a.m. to get there and park and then wait there until 6 to get in for a time that wasn't even advertised as the opening time, and then by the time park opens, no one has a chance of getting on? How is this okay? Even the thing about just like everybody running for paper fast passes, I know that that's existed for a while, but how is that okay? I know I'm the guy who's supposed to come up with ridiculous ideas if you had an infinite amount of time and money, but I can't even fathom a system where it is fair for everybody. So I guess the lottery system at Tokyo, but still, even that is for someone like Spencer, he's usually has no luck in the lotteries, even though he lives there and goes there constantly.
Yeah. And that's a massive
Speaking of things that are not fair, children kicking droids with their feet.
Well, is he allowed to do that?
He just did it.
Okay. All right, cool. Just checking.
You get one a month.
So yeah, that's a problem. We were originally told roaming droids in Galaxy's Edge, then we were told not at opening. Now we're being told not at all. And I believe that in no small part the individual on the left here and many other small humans
I hate that video.
It's so we're not going to watch it, but children are aggressive with these things, and I have a strong feeling that that's probably what the problem is here. That Disney put this out for a day or two and then went, oh my gosh, I have to do this much maintenance every day? No.
But come on, Disney, you've been in the entertainment business, theme park business, since 1955. It is no surprise that children are destructive. You've been around for almost 70 years in this business. You know this. So this shouldn't have been a shocker. And I want to echo Tyler. How is this okay to overpromise so much and then just take it away? I think that's been kind of a theme about about Galaxy's Edge, and I enjoy Galaxy's Edge, but I had these insane expectations about what the experience was going to be like in there, and this is just one other expectation that it's now going away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm okay with that, just because I think we're used to things being overpromised and then you don't get them. This is why,
How is that okay?
Because it's been happening for a long time. We know about this. You think that other things like technical issues would be fixed, as opposed to, they said that something amazing was going to happen, then it didn't. Oh, well, we sort of know that. But I am I'm sure, if you just had competent parents who were hey, maybe don't put your foot on what is supposed to be a living character or possibly even a very small person in there, you think that there should be, a cast member who could be hey, guys, treat this as you'd want to be treated yourself. But I guess, kids just don't do that every day. It's they just don't treat things the way they want to be treated, and that's why we have videos like that, which infuriate me. But like even the stuff like the reputation system, nothing has really come of that as far as anyone else has told me.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be going to Disneyland when they open up Rise and when that whole land is hopefully done. And now I'm continuing to think that I should push this back until it sort of gets like a proper full version that everyone, or that was promised rather. And that, right now it makes me afraid to even think about planning a trip now.
See, the thing that makes me afraid about planning a trip, though, is like if you don't plan a trip for when something first opens, they're going to start doing cutbacks and reducing the number of people involved in things. I think if you don't see Rise in the first year of it being open, they're going to start butchering the whole pre-ride experience to the point where it's going to look nothing like it does now. Like there's going to be no person getting on that ship delivering lines. Like it's going to get to just bare bones minimum. How few people can we get here? And so I want to see the full version of this, but I don't know when the full version is going to be or if we've already missed it.
Yeah.
Moving from that point, there are some hour changes going on that are kind of confusing. The morning hours for Hollywood Studios have been extended for a few days in December and January, much like a couple of the other parks that have also gotten these extended hours. Like you can see what it is here, but they're also kind of at the same time. Rise of the Resistance is not going to be open for evening extra magic hours. So we're going to open the whole park early, including this ride. But during the exclusive time for guests that pay us even more money, we're going to not have it open at all.
Get nothing. Lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, are they shutting down Rise during extra magic hours? Like, that's the thing that is it just they're leaving it open to boarding groups who had already gotten a boarding group in the morning, or are they just shutting down the at extra magic hours? You know, so that's the part I'm curious, like, will the ride not be operating, or will it just be operating and accommodating those people who had boarding groups from earlier in the day?
That's a really good point that we just don't know the answer to at this point, I don't believe. I
don't think we'll know until these extra magic hours start.
Yeah, and especially with the concept of standby boarding groups now, it might be the case that you need extra magic hours and a standby boarding group in order to get in line, or maybe just one or the other. Who knows?
It does make a bit of sense just to be like, oh yeah, the park's open an hour later, except this one, so we can get people through. Like, wasn't that the whole point of like something like Dinosaur closing an hour before park closes? Just because, like, if you got into line for Dinosaur at, like, let's say 9 o'clock, you could still potentially wouldn't even be on the ride till, like, almost 10, depending on how busy it is. But they do that at theme parks. Like, they close off lines ahead of time. They could just be keeping the park open later. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Here's the only thing I don't get about that, though, is do they do that for Flight of Passage? Because Flight of Passage has been continually the longest line. They don't close that off early, right?
No.
And it's open for extra
standby time. So they'll put a false standby time up there to dissuade people from getting in line at park close, but they don't actually close the queue early.
Yeah, for the record, this isn't conspiracy theory. We've run metrics on this. This is an actual fact that has been documented.
Yeah. So when you go to the park at the end of the night and it says that there's a 2-hour wait for Flight of Passage, get in line anyway. Yeah.
But I mean,
probably
even
the
if
shortest
it was,
it's been all day.
Even if it was like an hour, though, it's still one of the longest rides. And if this was a legitimate problem, wouldn't this be like, if this was why they're closing them early, wouldn't that be one of the attractions they would do that to? Much more than Dinosaur, I would think.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
why don't they do that?
So extra magic hours, and these extra magic hours are only open to resort guests. Maybe they just haven't figured out a way through MDX to be able to assign boarding groups only for resort guests only after the extra magic hour start. Maybe they just don't have the technological capacity to figure out a way to accommodate that in a fair sense, where only those people going to extra magic hours can benefit.
It's only for an hour or two. Just throw the standby line up.
I think they would not close until the next morning if they did that.
Well, I mean, and then cut it off at some point. But like, what?
Mm-hmm. It's the biggest attraction, though, right? So, I mean, there's got to be a reason that they're doing this. They don't just want to mess with people. I think it has to be that they don't know how to control that how many people would come. If you're in a hotel, you're guaranteed extra magic hours. If they also had to guarantee you, as 27 hotels across property, that everyone got to be in that line, then you couldn't do boarding groups, I wouldn't think.
That's fair. All right, well, that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you all for watching. If you're interested in going down, checking out Rise of the Resistance for yourself, while it might be in its prime, who knows? We highly recommend you check out Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT. They're an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients. And with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. All right, folks, that is going to do it for tonight's show. If you are sticking around and watching this live, the post show is coming up in just a few moments for our WIGS members. That's how we refer to our patrons. If you're not one already, head over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post show, the post show for News Tonight, which airs tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Live, and a whole host of other benefits. So if you haven't yet, check that out, patreon.com/WDWNT. All right, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.